All right. So I'm recording the class now. Okay, I would like someone to unmute themselves and tell me what they know about programming. Just anyone, tell me what you know about programming. Unmute yourself. Hello. I have Trumi or show me. Sorry. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Shoma.
It's Chioma.
Yeah.
Oh, what I can see from there is show me.
Okay.
Can she hear me? Hello? What about Agnos? Agnos. Are these
Good
people
afternoon.
here?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. My name is Aida Dylan, and then programming to me is just a step by step in which a particular problem is solved with computer system. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that wonderful answer. Thank you. Okay, one more person. Adedeji Lukman. Can you unmute yourself and just tell us what you know about programming? Hello, is he there? What about Aliman? I need response. I need your response.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello?
I'm just joining. I don't know exactly what's going on. Just joining the class.
All right. I just asked the question. Tell me what you know about programming. I mean, you took this course. You decided to take mobile application development with Flutter. You should have an idea or something. So I want to know, what do you know about programming? In general, just say something.
Okay. Basically, what I know about programming is that it's used to solve problems in different sector. Different sector we have. It's used to solve problems. So different programming languages have for different purpose. So, and the stack I think mobile app developed by Flutter, which is can be used to solve many aspects, maybe in terms of logistics or banking sector or different aspects of what they call the sector. And in the programming language can be used to that let me say that it can be used to develop both iOS and what's it called and Android one code base. So we have the mockup language like HTML and SXM, CSS, Flutter, Flutter, Python, and the rest are oriented, object-oriented programming. So let me just
Hello. Yeah, thank you very much. You said a lot. I only asked for overview of programming, but that's good. Thank you very much for your response. Thank you. All right, let's go right into the slide. I hope you can still see my screen.
Yes.
All right, so it's going to be short and quick because we don't have much time. So overview of programming. A computer program is a sequence of instructions written using a computer programming language to perform a specified task by the computer. So we have keynote here, a sequence of instructions. So sequence of instructions, we can have an example here, sequence of instructions like cooking a meal. So a sequence of instruction can be, all right, you prepare everything. Let's say you want to cook rice, jollof rice, right? You have your rice, your tomato, pepper, your ingredients and everything. You prepare them, right? And there are steps to cooking jollof rice, right? So these steps, there are sequence of instructions. So at first you put in your rice in the pot, or whichever way you do it. You put your water, you parboil the rice and all that. Those are sequence of instructions, right? So a computer program is a sequence of instructions written using a computer programming language. So computer programming language, like we have English, French, Spanish, and all that. So for the computer now, we have different languages, right? So we know the computer, reads just zeros and ones, right? So to communicate with your computer, you must write in zeros and ones. But then we have scientists, right? Computer scientists that have made this thing easier for us, that have made it easier for us to communicate with our computer. So they created different programming language. So if we go deep into programming languages, we have high level, low level, and all that, different types of languages, right? So these languages, in summary, this language, they help us interact with the computer, right? So from our end, we can write in these languages in a way that we can understand, at least, right? So in just common words like print, right? Print is a common word that we understand, like read and all that. We understand that. So now these languages are written, and we have what we call the compiler and interpreter. I'm just going to summarize all this, right? Because you have to be very fast. So please pay attention. All right, so we have the compiler, right? It translates, right, in simple terms, it translates what we've written in our own language, in the computer programming language, to a machine language in zeros and ones that the computer can understand. So we have different languages like that can help us interact with the computer and pass on this sequence of instructions. So perform a specified task by the computer. All right, we move to the next. Okay, before we move from here, do we have any question? Any question on this? If I've not explained something well and you're confused, just let's have questions before we move to the next. Hello?
No question from me.
All right, I have a question. So can anyone give me an example of a programming language?
Flutter.
You said?
I said Flutter.
All right. Flutter is not a programming language, but it's all right. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk more on that. Any other person, please? Shumi, you wanted to say something before? Hello? Any other person? It's like this. It's like this class is for only Sahid.
I think we have Java, we have Dart, we have Python, we have Golang,
Hello, sir. Mentor,
PHP.
sir. Mentor. You're not supposed to answer this question, sir. Please
We
leave it
have
for
C++.
the group.
We have C#.
All right.
We have C. And all other.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Sahid. Thank you. By the end of this class, you're the only one that learned something. It's okay. At least one person learned something. All right. Let's move on. We're going straight into that overview. What is that? Look at. I mean, this is the mobile application development course with Flutter. Sally said Flutter is a programming language. It's not really a programming language. So Flutter is a framework that uses the Dart programming language. So this is the programming language that's the programming language that works with Flutter, which is a framework and we use that to build applications. All right, so that overview. That is an open source general purpose programming language developed by Google. It supports application development in both client and server side. So more on that. But it is widely used for development of Android apps, iOS applications, Internet of Things, and web applications using the Flutter framework. See what we have here. So Flutter is the framework, like the structure, right? Then that is the programming language. So my first program, have our first program, an example of our first program in the Dart programming language. So later on, we're going to look at installing the Dart SDK and everything, so we can start doing practicals, right? We can start writing code, but this is just a short example. All right, let's move on. So let's look at that. First thing we're going to look at is the Dart comments. Dart comments. So what are comments? Comments are a set of statements that are not meant to be executed by the compiler. So they provide proper documentation of the code. So we have a line of code and a comment. When passing to the compiler for interpretation, like it's not being read at all, right? That line of code is not being read at all. So we have different types of that comment. We have that single line comment. So that single line comment is used to comment a line until line break occurs. It is done using a double forward slash. This is an example of a Dart comment. So we start the comment with a double forward slash, and every other thing written after it is then a comment. Another type of Dart comment, we have the Dart multi-line comment. That multi-line comment is used to comment out a whole yes. All right. That multi-line comment is used to comment out a whole section of code. It uses a forward slash and an asterisk when starting the comments, and an asterisk with a forward slash next after it to start and end a multi-line comment. So here we have an example. Then lastly, that documentation comment. An example, it starts with 3/4/, then every text after it. Someone said the voice is breaking. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Okay. All right, let's continue. Next, we're going to move to that variable. Okay, don't worry, I'll send the material after the class. All right, let's move on. That's variables. So what is a variable? A variable name is the name assigned to the memory location where the user stores the data, and that data can be fetched when required with the help of the variable by calling its variable name. All right, what is a variable? Question time. From what we have here, can anybody just say something about a variable? Who else is here?
Yeah, we can hear you. Like the definition of variable is already there. Like
Is what?
like the definition of the variable. You mean like the question is to define the variable?
Yes, what is a variable? Because we have here a variable name. So what is a variable? I mean, from what you can see here.
Okay. Is the storage location of the data?
Is it what?
Is like the data are stored in a variable.
All right. I think someone just answered, yeah, Agnos. A variable is a box that holds data and stores it in memory. Wonderful. Thank you very much. So it's correct. Is correct. All right, let's continue. Thank you for that answer. So a variable name, let me use this definition so I will explain it better. So a variable is a box that holds data and stores it in memory. Just imagine you want to save something, let's say in the bank, right? In some banks, you have save boxes and all that. So you want to save maybe $1 or something there, right? And it has, these boxes have numbers. They have numbers. So that box now where you want to save the dollar is the variable. All right. So the number or the name or whatever that you can use in identifying that box is a variable name. All right, do you understand?
Yeah, we understand, man.
All right, so the value, what you want to save in that variable, which is my dollar now, is the value, that's the content of the variable. Okay, so syntax to declare a variable. And when we say declare a variable, what do we mean? So to declare, when we say declare a variable, we mean actually creating that variable in our memory, creating that space, creating that box in our memory. So that's what we mean by declaring a variable. The point where we create that memory space, memory location for our value. So this is the syntax of it. We have type, then we have the variable name. Talk about the variable name. Then type, we'll talk more about data type. But the type now can be, let me keep with the safety box example. So we have the box. So let's say we want this box to contain only dollars. We want it to contain only dollar, right? So if you put in naira, it will reject it, right? Because we've already said this box should only contain dollars. So it's just like pre-assigning the type, right? The type, the kind of value or the kind of item that can go into that variable. So this is what we're doing here. So we have different data types. We'll look at them shortly. So we have conditions to write variable name or identifiers as follows. Conditions to writing a variable name. So these variable names, they can be anything. They can be anything, but in the exception of some of these things that we're going to look at right now. So variable name or identifiers can't be the keyword. Variable name or identifiers can't be the keyword. All right, so in that we have keywords, just like in other programming languages. We have keywords. So keywords are predefined words that already have a specific purpose in that programming language. Okay, keywords are predefined text that already have a purpose in that programming language. Examples, we have print, we have we have if, right? So we have these keywords.
Voice is breaking, man.
It's breaking, okay.
Yes.
What can I do now? Okay, I don't know if you can hear me better now.
Yeah, we can hear you. It's be
Yes, I can hear you, man.
All right, thank you. Okay, I'm going to say it one more time. Keywords. Keywords are predefined words, predefined text that already have a meaning, right? A use, right? Something. All right. Can you hear me?
we didn't hear the last the predefined was already on. So that was where the voice started skipping.
Oh, all right. But did you get the definition of the keyword?
Yeah, so they are predefined text that already have a purpose in the language.
All right. All right. Thank you. Okay. The next we have variable name or identifiers can contain alphabets and numbers. So variable name or identifier. So we can just leave out this identifier because it's the same. Variable name identifiers are the same. So don't get confused over that. All right. So variable name can contain alphabets and numbers. So we can have variable name 1. We can have numbers in between here. All right. So the next variable name or identifiers can't contain spaces. Variable name or identifier can't contain spaces. So we can't have variable name, then space, then name. It's just like you're putting in two different variable names, so they are separate. Putting in the space, you are separating those words, so they can't be one. So variable name or identifiers can't contain spaces or special characters except the underscore and the $sign. So when we say special characters, we have hashtag and question mark, those special characters, right? Except we only have the exception of underscore. This is what was used here, variable name. So the underscore can be used to attach two different words together. So here we have variable, we have name. So you use the underscore to attach these two different words together to create your variable name. And we can also have the $sign. So these are the two special characters that we can have in our variable name. So the last but not the least, we have variable name or identifiers can't begin with numbers. So here is number 2 here. We have variable name can't contain alphabets and numbers. Can contain. So here, variable name can contain numbers. So we can have the numbers as the second letter or whatever in your variable name, but it must not begin with a number. The variable name must not begin with a number. So these are the rules, right, in creating or naming a variable. Any questions on this? Any question?
No question for me.
All right. Any other person? Any question? None. All right. We're moving on. I hope you're following. No, those are not replying. All right. If you can't unmute yourself, please just send a reply on the chat. All right. Let's move on. Since there are no questions. Okay. You know what? I would like to ask a question. So if you can't unmute yourself, just type it. Send a message. All right. So give me an example of a variable name. And okay, let me call Agnos. I guess you can't unmute yourself. So just send a message here. An example of a variable name. All right. Who do we have here again? Bold. Bold Ugani. We have Abdul Sobo, an example of a variable name. Let's be fast. All right, Sahid said int. Okay, so I love that you actually said int. This now will bring us to explaining something and going back to really explain this. So if we look at this first rule, set variable name can't be the keyword, can't be a keyword. And I talked about keyword, I explained keyword. So this int we have here is a keyword, int, it's a keyword. So it can be used as a variable name. So int is the short form of integer. It's a data type. So as we go on, you will see different examples of keywords, right? So I think we get the idea. But no one has used a number or a character for a variable name. But it's all right. Let's move on. All right. Next, we have that data types. That data types that we're talking about before. So whenever a variable is created, we have when a variable is declared, that's created, right? Declaring a variable is creating a variable, like we explained before. So whenever a variable is created, each variable has an associated data type, like I said before. In that language, there is the type of values that can be presented and manipulated in programming language. So, like I explained before, right, with the safety box, we created this variable is a memory space, a memory location, and we're saying from the onset, we're saying we don't want any other thing to be stored here apart from $notes, right? So any other thing that's coming in, we reject it. So that's it. So data types, we have these few examples. We have the integer, double, string, boolean, list, and max. I don't have examples here, but let me explain. So please, you have to listen very carefully. All right, so integers. To declare a variable, we'll go to VS Code. So see some of these examples on our VS Code. All right, so integers are numbers, right? They are just short numbers like 1, 2, 100, and so on. So integers, using it as a data type, right? It's used like what my friend typed here, Sahid. So to declare a variable as an integer, we use int, int. So if we were to declare this variable name to be of type integer, here in place of type we'll have int. Place of type we'll have int. We'll look at more examples later. So we have type double. So type double are decimal figures, decimal numbers. So we have 5.0, 5.5, 5.8, all are double variables. So if we declare this variable name to be of type int, what values, question now, what values are we to expect in this variable? Anybody who can type, you can type. If we declare, all right, thank you, Shahid. Okay, so if we're, yeah?
The question again.
The what?
The question.
Okay, the question, I said if we're to declare this, let me go to it, this variable, right, to be of type integer, what values are we expecting to be in it? Did you get the question? Mohammed. All right. So Sahid has answered it for us. Thank you. Video post. Post my video. All right. Can you see my screen? Got disconnected for a while.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So if this same variable name now was declared with a data type of double, what values are we expecting? Yeah. What value are we expecting? Anyone?
Please come again, ma'am.
All right, Agnos, thank you. Okay, I said, to repeat myself, I said if this variable name now was declared of type double, what value are we expecting? All right, thank you for the answers. All right, let's move on. So we have other data types. If you are not following, if you have any questions, please signify, please. I want to carry everyone along as much as I can. So if you have any questions, please signify. All right, so we have string. Strings are, you have a question, all right.
Yeah, please, can you explain the integer again? The integer.
Okay,
type.
all right. Integers are numbers. Any number, right? So in math, what do they call them? They are
Like
basically they are
number.
all numbers. Thank you very much. Thank you. Who answered that? Thank you.
Me, ma'am.
All right. I did it. Thank you very much. So they are whole numbers, right? They're just numbers. So the difference in integers and doubles is that doubles have decimal points. So they are numbers with decimal points. Do you understand it now?
Understood.
All right. Okay, so we have strings. So strings are basically any character you enclose in quotes, in quotation marks. So when we start doing some practical, you see what I'm talking about. So strings you can have numbers, characters, anything, as long as they're enclosed in quotation marks. So they are strings. Let me type an example here. Example of string. have this is a string. All right, so we have it there. It starts with an opening quotation mark and it ends with a closing quotation mark. So we can have numbers, 5 points, whatever. So this also is a string as long as it's enclosed in quotation marks. All right, do you understand that? Do you understand that? All right. Okay, thank you. Nice. All right, so next we have booleans. So as we can have different values for integers, integers that numbers, so they can be, it's infinite, right? Infinite options. We have 5, 6, 100, 1,000, double also, and strings, they are infinite. We have infinite options for this data type. But for booleans, we just have two, right? We just have two, which is true or false. So declaring a variable of type boolean, it can only take in two values, which are true or false. Right, so we can use it for maybe a loading button. Let's say you want to build an application for login. So we have the button sign login. So we can say if the password and the name is correct, right? We can set, and once the button is clicked, we can set is loading to be true. So when we set is loading to be true, there you, okay, I'm going, I think I'm going too far. But maybe we have an option, or we want to define something of true or false, just like putting on a light. Put on the switch, put on the lights, it's on, put it off, it's off. So these are the options. So we can use it for things like that. When we start going deeper, we understand more about it. So let's just know that we have just two inputs for boolean. So to declare it, for integers, we use int, int. So for boolean, we use bool, bool, bool. All right, we have lists. So lists can be used to group items, different items. Lists can be used to group different items. Once we get some VS Code, we'll look at the examples and maps also. I guess we should go to VS Code now so we can look at this. All right, I'm coming. Okay. All right, give me a minute, please. Okay. All right. Let me share my screen. Okay. All right, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see it.
All right. All right, so we have different examples of variables and data types here. Let's clean this. All right, like I explained before. So now this main, we have print. These are examples of keywords. So this main is used to enclose a block of code. So to actually start writing code in Dart, you don't just start writing like that. You must enclose it in this main block. So we have the main, and then close with this closing curly braces. All right, so print is a keyword used to print out values to your terminal. So we can't use print as a variable name. Okay, so you can tell me what this is. What I just highlighted, this. What is this line of code? All right, Sahid, thank you very much. That's correct. Okay, so from this now, comments are useful. They help in explaining lines of code. So here we have declare numbers. So this is actually explaining what this line of code does. So declared, okay, someone, what is the integer here? What's the name of the variable here in this line of code, line 5? What is the name of the variable? All right. I hope others are following. I only have few persons answering questions. If I'm too fast, if you have any questions, please let me know. All right. So we have variable name A declared and defined of the variable type int. So we have 5. So let's try something. So declare this variable type of type int. So A is of type int. So whatever value we're going to be putting into this variable, it must be an integer value. So let's try to put a double value here. So let's say 3.0. You can see there's an error here. Right? Everywhere is red. So it's saying no, I can't accept this. I only accept integer values. So give me only integer values. So to clear the error, we assign only integer values. All right, so we have an example of a double here. Then we have a string, as explained before. Then we have bool. Like I said, we only have 2 options for the data type bool. Can either be true or false, nothing else, only true or false. Then we have the list. So to declare a list variable, we use this square bracket. So a list is can be used to group different values. So we can have names. Let's say we want a list of groceries, a list of food foodstuff or whatever. We can have rice. We can have beans. Can have spag and so on. So the list is non-ending. Like you can have as much as you want here. So I'm used to group similar items. So we can't have rice here. Then we have something so different. So yeah, and we also have maps. Map. So this is the. So this now list, bool, string, double int. These are keywords. So you can't use them as a variable name. Okay. Map. Let's say a map. All right. So this is how you declare a map. So it's a key value thing. So we can have rice, then white rice. So this is the syntax. We can have more of this. We can have a list of maps, right? So in here we can have maps, a list of maps and all that. All right, let's continue. Any question?
I have a question.
All right.
I think what's the difference between the map and the lists? Because they look quite similar.
What is the difference between,
The difference between the map and the
All right, there are several differences. Okay, first, the lists are enclosed in square brackets. I hope you can see it. So we have the opening square brackets and closing. Can you see it, Mohammed?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, then the maps, we have curly braces, curly brackets. So the lists are just items, single items. We have one item, rice, comma, then this is another item, beans, comma, and another item. Let me add another to this so you see. Let me beans. Right, this. All right. So maps are key value pairs. So with the map, this is a key. So let's say I want the white rice. To get the white rice, you use the key rice to get to that white rice. So they're just like key value pairs, like I said before, while the lists are just straight to items each. So this is the first item, which has a key and the value. It's just like, let me say this rice is the variable name. Let me say this is the variable name. Then this white rice is the value. Do you get the example?
Yeah.
All right. So once you start, doing more practical work, you understand it better. Okay. Any other question before we move on? Any other question? Okay. I guess there are none. What should I ask? All right. Should. Someone should give me an example of a list. Declare a variable of type list for me. Just type it there. Anyone? Declare a variable of type list. Come on. I'm waiting. I guess we're typing. Did you hear me? Okay. I said someone should declare a variable for me of type list. Declare a variable. You give it a name, give it the type list, then you put in the values like I've explained. We saw the practical, we saw how it was being declared. So someone now just type it there for me. Okay. All right, but you're missing the equal to sign. Yes, Sahid, thank you very much. Thank you. All right. I'm happy that you guys are following. Okay, let's move on. All right, so that's the brief overview of that. Until you install the Dart SDK, VS Code, and those other frameworks you'll be using, the other software, we'll go deep into it now because we have to do practicals. And that will happen maybe tomorrow. So let's move on. Let's just look at an introduction to Flutter. All right, Flutter. I think I explained Flutter at the beginning. I said something about Flutter. You know, when he said Flutter was all right. When he said Flutter was a programming language, I said something. Can someone remind me? I said Flutter is it's not a programming language. No, Flutter is not an SDK. Anybody else? A framework. Thank you very much, Mohammed. Thank you. So we have this Flutter SDK, like the software when you want to download the Flutter SDK. So Flutter is not like necessarily an SDK. So it's a framework, right? It's a framework. All right. Thank you for the answers. Okay. Let's look at an explanation. Flutter. Flutter is an open source framework to create high quality. Okay, let's take it step by step. Flutter is an open source framework. Open source. What do we mean by open source? When we say something is open source, so it's open to edit, it's open to addition. So we have Flutter now as it's been built by Google. A developer, any developer now can add to it. Maybe they can write maybe a new code to do something that is not already being done, like an innovation, something, so it can be added to it. So Flutter is open to communities, open to collaboration, like that. So Flutter is an open source framework to create high quality, high performance mobile applications across mobile operating systems. We have Android and iOS. So Flutter can be used to build mobile applications for Android OS and iOS. Right, so Android operating system, then the Apple operating system. So it provides a simple, and with that, in addition, we know that we can also use Flutter to build websites. Can use Flutter to build websites. So yeah, with just one code base, can use it to build Android. Used to be for Android OS, iOS, and even websites, and even desktop. So it's it's very, very powerful. Right, so just one code base. That's why Flutter is the reigning framework right now for building applications and all. If it were to be the old days before Flutter, we have used Swift for iOS. You have to learn the Swift programming language first for iOS just to build iOS application. Then you will learn native, what they call it now, Node or Java. So you have to learn another programming language entirely just to build for Android OS application. Then another one. So it's Flutter has really made life easier for us. That with just one code base we can build for this various platforms. All right. It provides a simple, powerful, efficient, and easy to understand SDK to write mobile applications in Google's own language. That so it provides an easy to understand SDK to write mobile applications in Google's own language. That, so like, as I said before, Flutter is the framework, so it provides like kind of like a canvas, right? A structure to build this application, and it's using the programming language that. All right, any questions so far? All right. Okay, I have a question. So, what does SDK mean? What do you mean by SDK? What's the full meaning? What's the full meaning of SDK? Anybody? I hope you can still hear me.
It means software development kit.
All right. Just like we have the first aid kits, right? So there are tools in there that can help us in developing softwares. All right. Thank you. Okay. So some features of Flutter. The Flutter framework offers the following features to developers. They have modern and reactive framework. So Secondly, we have uses that programming language and it is very easy to learn. It uses that programming language and it's very easy to learn. We have fast development, beautiful and fluid user interfaces, huge widget catalog. So I think in the next class, we're going to look at widgets. So in Flutter, we say in Flutter, everything is a widget. In Flutter, everything is a widget. So an example, we have a button. The button is a widget. We have icons. These are widgets. And so many other things you see in a mobile application, colors, text. These are widgets. So everything you see is a widget. So the combination of this will help build a good user interface. So have huge widget catalog. So most of these things you don't have to start building them yourself, right? So they're already there. But we can edit and all that. So we have lots of them in Flutter. So next, run same UI for multiple platforms. So we can use same UI for multiple platforms. Like what I said, the platform here is Android, OS, iOS. That's another platform. We have the web applications. That's another platform. The desktop application is another platform. So you can use the same UI, the same code base for those platforms. So high performance application, you can use Flutter to build high performance application. You can use it to build logistic application, e-commerce applications, fintechs, and all that. So Flutter is that powerful. All right, we'll come to the end of today's class. Just a brief introduction on Dart and Flutter. We're going to go deep into it in our next class, and surely we're going to have assessment for this class. It will be sent later on in the evening. So time for question. You can ask me. Maybe I didn't talk about it in this class. Just saw it somewhere. Please, when is our next class? Our next class is tomorrow. Tomorrow, the time will be communicated to us. The time will be communicated to us by the end of today. A timetable, all right. So the class is basically from Monday to Friday. Can you hear me? I think I got disconnected. Can you hear me? All right. So, okay. So the classes are from Mondays to Fridays. Okay, thank you. From Monday to Friday. So we started today, Wednesday, because of our onboarding session and all that. So we'll have another class tomorrow being Thursday, then Friday. And our next class will be Monday next week. So there'll be live sessions and all. Okay, any other question? Question generally about Flutter, about that. Any just general questions, we have time. The material will be sent to us after this class and hopefully the recording. There are some persons that have not spoken at all. I hope we are following. All right. Mohammed said, how do we go about the downloading of software needed? So by the next class, the mentor is going to put you through, downloading these softwares. So we're going to, okay. So tomorrow you have to be on your PC. You have to have data, a good internet connection. So we're going to be, installing all these things. And I will send some links to download them beforehand. So tomorrow it will just be, fast, as we don't have much time. Okay. Any other question? All right, no question, no question. Okay. No questions. All right, I guess it's clear. All right, thank you for your reply. Thank you. Okay. All right, so maybe you go back and the question just popped up and you're just thinking, how did we do this? How are we supposed to do this? Anything. You can drop the question here. When I receive the question, I will give an answer to it. Okay, thank you for today's class, for attending today's class. All right, so please let's go back. As soon as I drop the material, let's go through it. As soon as I drop the link to download the software, let's do that before tomorrow. The assessment will be dropped. Let's do it and submit it before tomorrow. All right. Thank you. You have a lovely day.
Hello.
Yeah.
I want to. Did you give assignments on? Sorry, I wasn't around throughout. So, will you give any assignments?
If I've given them any assignments.
Yes.
Yeah, I said so. I was going to drop the assignments here later on.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right. Thank you all. Have a lovely day. Bye.